It is absolutely storming outside today. But I'm gonna film anyway. Good morning, it's me again. Hi. It's going to be the second project in stash busting, and it's one that I did not really expect. I have this really, really beautiful lotusy pink fabric that I once turned into, I believe, a romper, and I ended up not wearing that, and I regret that so much. I wish I would have made it into a summer dress. This is the fabric that I have. It's a very thin jersey cotton fabric, printed, and I absolutely love it. I regret so much not making this into a nice summer skirt or even a dress, because I did have enough of it. But now I only have enough to make a little summer top out of it. And I know it's like the depths of winter, but this is about stash busting, not making clothing appropriate for the weather at this point. Top I was planning on making is this one right here. It's just a simple basic top. For the people who don't know, this is a Burda style. This is a magazine that comes once a month here, and it has all of these patterns in it with the instructions on how to make them. So this is basically a book full of patterns that you usually buy for the same price as the book or the magazine. It is a little bit tricky because the pattern sheets look like this. So there's all these lines kind of mixed and matched and just jammed together on big piece of paper. So I can understand people going crazy with that. This is how I learned how to sew with these patterns. Here's the pattern. You need to add seam allowances, because with stretch fabrics I like to add seam allowances before I start cutting. I've already pressed the pattern, I've already pressed my fabric, so soon we can start. I don't know if I might be even going to use my serger, or my mom's serger actually, instead of my own machine. You know what? Why not? Let's go fast. My pattern is ready. I haven't put much information on it yet, since I don't know if I'm gonna keep it, but I'm gonna lay out the fabric and start cutting, and I'm gonna see if I can put you somewhere on the table so you can see what I'm doing. I know from like the internet videos that I've seen from other people that a lot of people hate working with like jersey knit fabrics, stretch fabrics. I don't mind it too much. Kind of learned how to sew with stretch fabrics. I mean, I made this. This is a stretch. I think a lot of it has to do with having like the right tools, having a good sewing machine, having a good serger, and at the same time, you know, it's going to be a bit finicky, but I do love how comfortable they are, and I do like, you know, how you can make small mistakes. I've actually made a lot of stretch items. I mean, like I said, the shirt that I'm wearing today, but I also have like 3 more shirts, I think, that I made. A pair of like sweatpants, house trousers, whatever you want to call them. And I had so much fabric left over from all of those projects that I ended up with a lot of small pieces. So I ended up using them to make baby clothes, and I ended up donating that to non-profit. I was very happy with the results of it, and I ended up like stash busting a lot of fabric. This was one of the pieces that I decided not to use for it, just because it's very thin. I feel like for baby clothes it's actually a lot more useful to have like thicker fabrics. And I have quite a piece left here, but I also need to make binding. And with stretch material you don't really need bias binding. You can use like straight binding and it'll be fine. So that's the back piece. And I'm now gonna do the front. It's going to be the same way, so I think I'm gonna do it off camera. I've made a bit of progress. Sewed up the shoulder seams and pressed the seam backwards. And I also pinned, sewed and pressed the darts. They're not perfectly even, but you know, I'm fine with it. So now what I'm going to do, I did not sew up the side seam yet, and for a reason, because I would like to start doing the binding around the neckline first. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to measure on the pattern, because this stretches. So this might not, it'll warp. So the measurement might not be accurate, whereas this is paper, so this won't go anywhere. So I'm gonna measure it, probably write it down in case I want to use the pattern again. And I'll measure the armhole as well, write it down so I have that for future references. So I thought it might be interesting to show you how I measure this. So what I do is I take a measuring tape. I've got one here which is centimeter, inches. I'm using the centimeters. I go around, flip it up actually kind of on the side, and that way I can measure out the curve. So this is 27.7. Going to write that down. Oh, I have to do this times 2 and then add the measurement of the front as well. Isn't that annoying? So I've just sewn from here to here without bobbin thread. I hate it when that happens. Also, don't mention it. I know my top thread is pink and my bottom thread is like white. I think this is a light grey. This is on purpose. I'm emptying up bobbins since this is a casual project and I don't really care about, you know, the color of thread, especially if it's not stop stitching. I'm just gonna go with whatever works, and this works, so we're gonna go for it. Now I'm going to cut this with pinking shears, press it to the inside, fold it under, and top stitch it down, and then it should be very nice and neat. Really quickly wanted to show you why I didn't sew up these side seams yet. It's because now I can press this very nicely and then fold it in very easily. I have now turned it in and pinned it down. I think I'm going to immediately sew it and then press it after. Here it is. It's almost finished. I've just sewn and pressed the side seams with the serger and, well, the iron. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing as that I did with the neckline. I'm going to sew a strip, right sides together, pink the edge, press the edge, fold it inwards, pin it down, sew it, press it. I'm a little bit sad because like right here it's very visible, but it's in the back. I really can't be bothered to do or to undo these stitches because they are stretch stitches, so they go forward once, backward once, then another time, and then they go forward again, backwards, forwards, forwards, backwards, forwards. So there's like 3 times the stitches to rip out. Here it is. It's finished. I do really like it though. It's a bit more low cut than I would like, especially in the back. But you know, for summer, it's fine. It's probably just going to be a top that I'm gonna like wear around the house. I do really like that I've been able to make something out of this fabric because I really still love the fabric. I really regret making what I made out of it, and I'm just so happy that I actually made something out of the leftovers, the scraps, that I am rather pleased with and that I do really like and that I think I'll wear. This was the second project in sewing through my stash. It was a bit of an unexpected one. I'm gonna stick to a once every 2 weeks schedule now, and I hope you really enjoyed. And if you'd like to see what else I'll be making from everything in there, you'll have to stick around. Thanks for watching, and on to the next stash busting project.